Welcome to Better Life, Better Business, your go-to podcast for how you can grow your business, double your productivity and time off, work smarter and not harder. Brought to you by local business coaching expert Christoph Nauer, CEO of Balance 6 in Walnut Creek, California.
Welcome back to Better Life, Better Business with local business coach and time management expert Christoph Nauer of Balance 6. I'm your host, Rebecca Troxel, founder and CEO of Rebecca's Vault. We're continuing our series where Christoph talks with business owners about not only what they do to help you with time and in your business, but how they're navigating the world of being business owners themselves.
Well, thank you, Rebecca, and welcome back, everyone, to another exciting episode of Better Life, Better Business. Today, it is with our special guest, Angela Mutchler with IDShield. Hello, Angela. Thank you for joining us today, and we're so glad you're here.
Thank you so much for having me, Christoph. I really appreciate it.
Well, most of us, or our listeners at least, they know that the purpose of my podcast is really to provide excellent resources, helpful tips and tricks for business owners. And that's exactly why I asked you to be a guest on our show today, Angela. So can you tell us a little bit about what it is you provide to business owners and entrepreneurs?
Sure. Well, I'm actually with LegalShield and IDShield Business Solutions, where we have a portfolio that adds huge value to entrepreneurs. But really, for time's sake, I'll just focus on a couple, if that's all right with you. We know that small businesses really are the lifeblood of our communities. And everyday business owners and key employees make decisions that could either keep their doors open or potentially lead to a lawsuit and close their doors permanently. And since this pandemic, we've all learned we've had to adjust in the way we do our business. So it's time to recreate our new policies and procedures and re-review our contracts and recreate new ones, update our employee manuals and more. But this can be very costly. However, our small business legal plans provide great value for big business resources for small business budgets. And we do that by funding it through crowd buying power. And this enables our businesses to get unlimited advice, to get those new contracts, reduce any risks, and to make qualified decisions so that their businesses can thrive and grow. That's one of the things. And another benefit that we should offer actually is a cybersecurity plan that's called IDShield for small business. And right now, there have been so many cyber attacks on small businesses, and they're very vulnerable. However, with this product, it's very affordable. We help identify, detect any vulnerabilities, and respond and recover, and providing them also with a cushion of $100,000 cyber recovery policy that helps gives our business owner peace of mind and maintains the company's good reputation. So this is very valuable. And then one more thing I'll just touch on is adding value to having quality employees. We also offer a voluntary offering of personal, legal, and identity theft protection plans they can never use against the company, but it helps the employees to be productive and keep their minds and bodies on the job. And we help take care of their problems while they do their work.
Wow. That's all I can say. There's a whole lot there. And I know you just kind of briefly touched on a few of those elements. And you're absolutely right. If the company can provide extra benefits to their employees, then hopefully the employees, the ones you want, stay with the company and don't go away, because we all know that employee turnover is a heck of a lot more expensive than employee retention, even though some of our bigger companies don't quite get that concept yet, but what do you want to do, right? So Angela, what's one thing you wish you had known when you began your business?
Well, when I first started this business, I actually owned another business. I built it from the ground up. It was thriving. But then at times I ran into challenges, right? Everyday questions. I had someone threaten me with a lawsuit, even though it was not my fault. They were just having a little marital squabble, so to say, but it affected my business. So I wish that I really had the services that I provide now. And thankfully, I did become a member when I was ready to exit the business and also eventually sell it. So it really saved me time, stress, and money.
All right. So I hearing that, if I hear you correctly, that your company also helps in selling business or in and, turnover or inheritance or passing it on or business sales.
Exit strategy.
Thank
Exit
you.
strategy.
That's
I
the word I
definitely
was
got
looking for.
advice on that. Mhm.
Wow. I wonder if there's something you don't do. What's your biggest challenge right now, Angela?
Well, I would say my biggest challenge is we have such an amazing service, and I certainly believe in it. I'm a product of the product. I've had it for 16 years. It saved me tons of money. And I think what's the biggest challenge is letting the small business community know that we exist. And I particularly am here to help them.
Fantastic. What are some of the best resources that have helped you along the way?
Well, we do have systems, with LegalShield and IDShield. They do provide certain systems and training. I've had great mentors. And actually, Christoph, you've been a wonderful coach to me as well. You've given me some invaluable tips that have helped me along the way, especially since we had to pivot from working inside our homes with COVID versus having our own space.
Well, thank you. Now, this was not planned, okay? It was not a planned. I didn't
No,
ask
it wasn't.
Angela to say that. Just to clarify for our listeners here. Angela, what role does delegating play in your business?
Well, I have a little challenge with delegation. I like to be a hands-on kind of gal and be responsible for everything, but I realize that's not really practical. So I'm still working on that. But one way I'm looking to expand delegation, in a sense, is to bring on more people, such as to join me such as benefit brokers, agents, direct sellers. This will enable me to cast a larger net to serve more of the business community. And it also will help enhance their offerings as well. So it's a win-win situation.
Nice. I struggle with delegating too. That's something that I just keep working on day after day. So I hear your pain and your struggles there for sure. One of the other things that we talk about a lot on this podcast is prioritizing. And if you haven't listened to the ones on prioritizing, anybody who's listening, I highly recommend you do that. We've discussed the 80-20 rule, the ABCDE method, proactive procrastination. What are things that you use to prioritize?
Is that to me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not know that question was to me.
Yes, Angela, I am very curious. How do you prioritize? Because I always like to know what tips and tricks people have in that category. That's something near and dear to my heart that I struggle with too.
Okay, well, I generally like to write out a list and prioritize my list. Every day is a good thing because then at least you're able to mark off the things that are the most important. Something simple.
I
That's
like
true.
it.
And doesn't it feel great when you can scratch something out or say done, Feels good, right?
It sure does. Sometimes you feel like at the end of the day, did I really accomplish that much? But when you look at that list, you say, wow, and then eat that frog, as I heard you say, Christoph, get the hardest thing off of your list done first. Whew, what a relief it is.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right. And Rebecca's right. I covered that in those other episodes on prioritizing. Absolutely. So as a business owner, you have lots of responsibilities. You're the one who has to make sure everything gets taken care of. So how do you make sure that everything gets done?
How do I make sure everything gets done? It is a juggle. It is a juggle. And I think, again, going back to that list and prioritizing each and every day, and then executing. Because if we don't pick up that phone or we don't join that meeting, how are we going to get anything accomplished, right? So we have to follow through on our commitments.
Absolutely.
All right. Are you one of the people who's using time blocking?
I just recently started doing that because I recognized with, I said, working out of the home now more so than ever, there are times where, I can time block and even put a sign, as you had mentioned, for the family to know that, hey, you know what, this is my time and I'm going to focus on this. Please do not interrupt. And I was amazed at how much I could actually get done in a short period of time. Very, very productive. I love time blocking.
Yeah, one of the reasons why it just popped up in my head to ask that question, because I was on a call with a client earlier today, and he, for the first time, implemented the 90-15-90 rule. And he said he was so uncomfortable to have the phone off and the email off for 90 minutes. He was like, oh, but he said, gosh, felt great afterwards, So he has to overcome that reluctance, have to give himself permission to do that. But he's realized that by stepping outside his comfort zone, he's growing and things are happening the way he wants to. So that's why, as you were talking, just kind of popped into my head. So you may or may not know that only about 3% of people have written goals for their business and their lives. How do you set goal setting? And do you fall into the 3%? I would think so, but I want to ask the question anyway.
Oh, you're surprising me with some of these questions. Okay, I do set goals. I'll be honest with you, I still need a little bit of adjustment, because you have to pivot here and there, and sometimes your goals, I need a little work. I might have to talk to you more about that. Because I have new goals now, because we're coming out of the pandemic, hopefully, right? So I want to ramp up my business. So it's time to analyze it again.
Sure, and see, the beauty is, the key is that the goals are written down somewhere on a document or whatever. And one of the things I have on my list, on my calendar, is Friday before I close the shop is to look at my goals. And
I like that.
Well, I got to be honest with you. How many times I blow that off, Again, I'm human too, I just, sometimes don't do it. But what it does help, and that's one of my things that my mentor, Brian Tracy, talks about, the successful people, they focus on their goals consistently and they look at the goals regularly. And doesn't mean that you have to stick to them like glue, but he's like, okay, am I on track? Do I need to tweak it a little bit, change it a little bit? Maybe it was a little bit too aggressive and too, not realistic. Okay, let's, change it a little bit and tweak it a little bit. So, and that's just the way it is. But I think if we don't have any goals in writing, then we don't really know where we're going, And Rebecca knows that we've done a podcast on that particular topic as well.
Yeah, you reminded me, I actually put some of my goals on my phone. So I have a reminder every day, and they're almost like affirmations as well.
Nice.
So
See?
The key is not ignoring that little ding, but actually taking the time and reading it and saying it out loud. And then it's surprising, because the subconscious works together too, right? And it's amazing when I look back and I have reached some of those goals that I had set out previously. So it's a great tool.
Well, thank you. I love what you said. You're actually saying your goals out loud.
Mm-hmm.
And they never thought of that way. But thank you. I learned again something new today. I think it's a fantastic idea, because then you hear yourself saying those goals. They become a reality, and then they take on much more meaning than just looking at them. Thank you. I will have to start implementing that myself. Great idea.
New tool for your tool belt, Christoph.
There you go. I'm getting more tools, I'm going to need a bigger belt. Now, Angela, you know that my business name is Balance 6, and you probably know what the 6 are. I know my audience hopefully does, but anyway, I will repeat it real quick. Health, relationship, time, money, self-improvement, and higher power. So would you like to give us a little tricks or tips on one of those 6, and which one would you like to talk about?
Well, I know they're all very important, but I would say the number one go-to is the higher power. So every day I start off, with a prayer and some meditation and whatnot. And I do pray about my goals as well. In addition to the relationship I'm working on with who I pray to, but that's important to me. And I thank them also when we do reach a goal, or just the efforts that, or the strength that I have to be able to perform, or what I can do within my abilities.
Yes.
Excellent. I like that. And it's very fascinating because out of all the people that we've spoken to that have talked about higher power, have you noticed, Christoph? Lots of meditation going on. That's something that's universal. It really helps you connect. So I love to hear that you do that in combination with your morning prayer. That's very cool. I like that.
Thanks.
So speaking of some of the things that inspire you or influential to you, who are some of the people that have been the most influential to you?
Wow. That's a tough question. I mean, if you go on a personal note, I know my mom was very driven. I mean, she had 7 children and she had a GED. And then later on, she went ahead and got her, Bachelor of Science degree, became a nurse that was dealt with high acuity patients. And she just thrived and loved her job. And she followed actually my grandma too, who also did similar work. And I think just the work ethic is something that has impressed upon me, and really caring for others as well. I kind of forgot part of the question now, but just going into even just having that desire to really help people. I love what I do because I know I'm making a difference in people's lives as well.
I think it's very obvious your mom was very influential on you because the caring aspect very clearly comes along with nursing. So it's obvious she was influential to you. And having a mom who's a nurse, we can totally relate to that too, Angela.
Well, and it's very appropriate to talk about that, because isn't this weekend where we honor our moms? Now, again, I personally think that shouldn't be one Sunday set aside a year. That should be happening much more often. But who am I to judge? I mean, but moms they usually don't get the credit that they deserve. And I think they're extremely influential. There's no stronger bond than between a mom and a child. There's no such thing. That we can try as much as we can try. We can never make up that, because it's just something there's to it, So I'm glad you mentioned that. It's so interesting too, because Rebecca talked about her mom as well. She gave her some really wonderful well, she sang her praises at a talk that she gave, and she invited me to be a part of that audience. So a very, very moving testimony to a wonderful mother, and which kind of showed me how incredibly wonderful, now why Rebecca is this incredibly wonderful person, because she had such a wonderful, incredible mom influencing her.
Yeah.
We never interviewed Rebecca on that particular subject. Well, maybe one day we will, right?
See, Angela, with great moms, we can create more women who can conquer the world. That's all we need, is more great moms out there.
Absolutely. Right. So, Angela, thank you so much for coming on the show and for sharing your wisdom and your passion for helping people with us. At this point, I would imagine everybody listening wants to figure out how to get in touch with you so they can learn more about all the different services, because you only briefly scratched the surface. I know that. How can they find you online, Angela?
Well, I was going to suggest, basically, I'd like to have a one-to-one conversation. I mean, they can definitely look me up on LinkedIn with my name, Angela Mutchler, IDShield Business Solutions. Also, my website is ang-solutions.com. You can also message me through there, or even my phone. They can really, honestly, you can even give me a text and just let me know that you heard something from Christoph's podcast, and you can give me a text at 510-299-3448. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. And all that information will be in the video description. So people, if you're listening, you don't have to write that down. It's going to be in the video description. Just want to let people know.
Well, thank you so much, Angela, for spending some time with us today.
Thank you. I really enjoyed it, and I really count it as a privilege.
We do too, and we really appreciate it. It's been fun. And so, to our viewers out there, if you or someone you'd know would like help and guidance on growing their business like Angela has, make sure you check out Christoph's website, balance6.biz. There you can learn more about Christoph and get his free report, 5 Secrets for Putting Your Business Growth on Autopilot. Thank you. And as always, thank you for joining us and keep working towards having a better life and a better business. We'll see you next time.
This week's episode of Better Life, Better Business is brought to you by CA&C Video Productions. Since 1985, CA&C Video has been providing live streaming, event production, and analog to digital transfer services. They capture those life-changing moments, preserving your history for current and future generations. Because your history matters. Visit their website at cacvideo.com. Thank you so much for your sponsorship.
That's all for now. Thanks for listening to another episode of Better Life, Better Business with business and time management coach Christoph Nauer with Balance 6, the leading business and time management company in Northern California. Visit them at balance6.biz.